Hey friends, it's Heather with another process video to share, and today I'm working with cut files, specifically one cut file by Paige Evans, and it's this beautiful book with lots of flowers bursting out of it. And I've wanted to use this cut file for as long as I've seen it, and today is finally the day we're using it. So I've already cut it out with my Cricut, and I'm peeling it off my mat using that little spatula. That comes in a set of basic Cricut tools, which I will link down below if you're interested in getting this little spatula. It's super handy for peeling things off of super sticky mats like this. And I do end up ripping it a couple times, but in the end you can't tell, so it's alright. And instead of backing this cut file, I'm going to be watercoloring it. So I put it on top of paper towels to catch any extra liquid, and I'm going to come in with a combination of basic Arteza watercolor tubes and these two palettes by Prima, and I will link those in the description as well. And I'm trying to match the colors from the Garden Shop collection by Paige Evans. I've got a few paper strips over in the bottom right corner there, and I know I want to embellish with these cut apart sentiments, so I'm really trying to match those colors, and I end up coming back with sort of layers of paint and custom mixing my own colors to get it to match just the shade that I want. And this color that I'm doing right now ends up being a little bit bright and not quite yellow enough, so I'm going to come back over it with a slightly different color to help it match those Garden Shop papers really well. And I'm also going to come in with a darker green because there is a dark sort of bluish green in those cut apart sentiments. So my stems and my leaves are going to be a combination of these lighter greens and these darker greens. And I think that's going to be really pretty. I'm just using a basic paintbrush. It's nothing special, nothing fancy. But it's got a nice fine tip, which is perfect for getting these itty bitty lines on this cut file. It's very intricate, so having a paintbrush with a fine point is really handy. So I've finished all my stems and my leaves there, and next I'm going to come in with some different colors for the flowers. So I'm going to use some pink on this flower that looks kind of like a rose. I'm going to use some orange and some yellow, and I even come in with some purple. And I know there's not any purple in the Garden Shop collection, but I really wanted to use the whole rainbow of colors for this cut file, so I'm going to go rogue and add purple anyway. And I think it'll end up being really pretty. Well, I know it ends up being really pretty because I've seen the finished product. So, and now you get to as well. It's almost done. I'm just adding a little bit more pink to the flower there. And I'll move the paper towel so you can see the finished product. It's all painted now. And I even painted the pages in just the lightest gray that I could manage because I'm going to back it in white, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm just going to trace and cut it a little bit bigger so that it fits inside those pages and inside the book cover. And like I said, I watercolored those pages just the lightest gray that I could possibly manage so that it would still stand out against this white backing piece that I'm putting on. And my original plan was to use this backing piece with the book pages for my journaling. I end up not doing that. I end up using it for the title instead. But I still love how the book looks with just the book part backed and the flowers open. And this gluing process takes a while because there's a lot of thin little strips to put glue on, but I get it done eventually and I don't make you watch the whole thing, so never fear. And that glue that I'm using is the Barely Art glue. My sister Heidi recommended it. She's on Instagram actually, if you check her out, Heidi K. Lewis on Instagram. And she has a ton of fun scrapbooking stuff as well, so go check out her Instagram page. But she recommended this glue to me, and I love it so much because it's got a super fine tip for backing cut files like this. It's very handy. So I'm just cleaning up my desk a little bit there, and I realized that I didn't cut my piece quite perfectly, but that's okay. I can go back and trim off the extra that's sticking out, and it'll look like I cut it perfectly in the end, even though I didn't. And I'm coming in with some smaller scissors. These are also in the Cricut Basic Tools pack. They're my favorite scissors for fussy cutting because they're so small and they have such a fine point. So love those scissors, they're super handy. And I'm going to put my watercolors away because we're all done with that part, and I'm going to come in with this background sheet, which is actually from the Round Trip collection by Maggie Holmes. So I'm really mixing and matching collections here, but I tend to do that. That's nothing new for me anyway. And I've got my two photos there, which is of my daughter Thea when she was just a year old. So this picture is very old, several years old. And she was just over a year at this point, and we lived across the street from the library, and we went there a lot. So I thought these pictures of her in the kid area at the library would be perfect for this book cut file. And I'm cutting apart this sentiment page. There's a lot of book-related sentiments, like, I don't remember the specifics, like cozy up with a good book, my weekend is all booked, tell your own story, cute little sentiments like that are all book-related. So I'm cutting out as many of those as I can find in the colors that I want. And I'm going for the whole rainbow of colors, and I'm not going to be able to do purple, but I'm going to do all the other colors. So the yellow and the light and dark green, the blue, and I don't think I do any of the orange, but I might do some pink. So I'm going to do a whole lot of colors over there, and I'm going to layer them on the upper left side. When I do end up moving my photos, I felt like the layout just wasn't balanced, having my pictures and these sentiments on the same side of the page. So I'm going to move my photos to the bottom right corner so that they balance all these sentiments on the upper left. And I think that ends up looking a lot better. So I'm trying to arrange these strips so that there's not too many of the same length too close to each other. And there I go, moving my pictures. That bottom picture is going to run off the edges a little bit. I think it's looking really cute so far. I'm really pleased with this. And you'll have to excuse some of the weird lighting. I was filming this in the late afternoon when the sun comes right through my craft room window, and I haven't installed curtains in my craft room yet to kind of shield my craft table from all this bright light. So you're just going to have to be patient with my crazy lighting conditions. I'm backing the photos with some yellow polka dot paper from Garden Shop. I'm not sure which paper number it is, because I just got it from the paper pad. I can look that up and post a link to this yellow polka dot paper that I'm using to mat the photos. And I'm doing that just to make sure that the photos really stand out from the rest of the page. As much as I love all these other cute design elements, I do want my photos to still be the focus of every page that I make. Because that's, for me at least, part of the point of scrapbooking is just to document all these photos. So matting them with this paper just helps with that. And I temporarily come in with some of the floral ephemera, but I decide that with the flowers in the cut file, it's just too many flowers, which I know some people would say there's no such thing, but at least for me, I wanted the attention to be on the watercolored flowers that I spent all that time on. And also I wanted to make sure there was room for that book sticker that's on the right of my page. I love that little stack of books so much, and I really wanted to use it. That's from the Garden Shop cardstock stickers. And I wanted to make sure there was room for it, so I am going to take off this floral ephemera. And looking back, it looks fine. I maybe could have included it, but I tend to be a pretty minimal embellisher. That's just a thing I've learned about myself over the years, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with using minimal embellishments and having the main design be the focus of my pages. So I realized that I don't have any of the dark green paper strips that I was originally trying to match, partly just because there weren't any book-themed ones in that dark green color, so these dark green sentiments are going to be a little bit more generic. Like, I think one of them says, "Be silly." One of them says, like, "Hi there." So just generic little sentiments. They're not book-themed, but I really wanted to include this darker green to tie in the dark green that I watercolored on the cut file. And I love how the flowers look on this light wood grain. I wish I could have 10 sheets of this round trip paper that I'm using for my background because it's so pretty. I love the herringbone. I love that it's a lighter wood grain instead of a darker one. I feel like it just makes things light and airy, but still adds that organic element. I love it so much. I think I need to go pick up some more of this paper for myself. Especially now that I've used it once as a background, I'm like, oh, now I have ideas to use it as a background again. So more weird lighting, you're welcome. And next I'm going to mat my photos one more time, this time with tissue paper. And this is a much more subtle border, but I love that you can still see the elements that are behind it through the tissue paper. So I'm going to cut that out, add that subtle little messy border. Got this idea from Missy Whitten, and I do it all the time now, so thanks, Missy. Let's see, what am I going to do next? It's a mystery. We'll see. Apparently I'm going to put my arm in the frame. That's helpful. I'm going to come in with some foam. I want to raise my photos off the page, and I'm cutting it at an angle so that I don't have foam on top of foam since my pictures are overlapping. And I'm using my liquid glue again just to make sure things stay in place permanently. I used to use almost exclusively tape runners, but I found that I only use them for some things now. And maybe it depends on the brand. Maybe I just haven't found the right tape runner. But the ones that I used to use when I first started scrapbooking, they don't last the test of time. I will pull out some of my older scrapbook pages from like 5, 6, 7 years ago, and all of the elements just fall off the background because they were stuck on with tape runners, and they don't really stay in place permanently. So I've learned my lesson, and I use liquid glue for almost everything now. And I'm hopeful that that will help stand the test of time and help these pages last for years to come. I'm pretty sure I like where everything is going, so I'm going to start gluing everything down. And I'm just gluing down the centers of the flowers because I love how the edges are curling up. And part of that is because I added the water. I didn't use any gesso before I watercolored. And so the liquid and the paint really made the edges of the paper curl up, and I love the dimension and texture that adds. So I'm just gluing the centers of the flowers so that I don't lose that lovely effect of the edges of the flowers curling up. I love how this is looking so far. Really pleased with it. So go me. I don't love everything that I make, so when I do, I always have to rejoice in it. Yeah, and this was one of the good pages, I think. Let me know if you agree in the comments, because I don't know, everybody has different tastes, right? Like, that's one of the good things about art and about creativity and about scrapbooking, is that everybody does different things and has different ideas and different preferences. So yeah, just let me know what you think of this, because I've got some other watercolor cut files, but this one has definitely turned out the best. If you're interested in seeing some of the other watercolored cut files that I've done, again, leave a comment, and I will make a blog post about some of the other watercolored cut files that I've made in the past. So I'm just about done here. I've added that little book sticker, and next I gotta start thinking about my title. I'm going to be coming in with the 8-page sticker book from Garden Shop. There's teeny tiny versions of the thickers from this collection. They've got copper foil stitching elements that are just so cute, and my title is going to say One More Story. I'm using the whole rainbow of colors to spell this out, and I am going to move it down to a different page. I'm still going to curve the letters to match the curve of the page on the cut file, but I am going to move it down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, now I've moved it down. I'm going to add a couple more sentiment stickers right onto my photos, fill in some of that empty space to the right of the photos. And those are also from the 8-page sticker book from Garden Shop. So many cute fun things in here. I know this is a fall themed collection, but I have yet to make a single fall page with Garden Shop. They've all been very spring themed. Like, I made an Easter page that is going to be revealed next month, so stay tuned for that. And I've made another spring page, and I scrapbooked a photo from April, and this is very spring related as well, so it just shows how versatile this collection is. And here's the final page. I love how this turned out. I'm really pleased with how watercoloring is. So thanks so much for watching, and stay scrappy!